Yeah, we had audio. We had a lot going on here, Matt, on the way in, and we got it done. We got it done somehow. Somehow.
Someday,
Jafar
some way.
from the floor. Mistrade Matt Davio. Market Vitals is the stream. Please retweet it right now. If you're watching live on Twitter, let me say that again. Did you just turn it on Twitter? How about now? Now, retweet. Retweet the tweet. Retweet the tweet. Tweet. Matt, there's a whole lot going on in the world, as usual, as there always is. And you can't pay attention to it all. And I just shared with you on the way in that our great capitalist CEO, Jamie Dimon, calling out a dire warning. Dire.
By the way, before he was CEO, NBD, he was the CEO of NBD, which was National Bank of Detroit.
See? Tell me he's a University of Michigan grad, and I'll puke.
I don't know about that. I don't know where he went to school.
Jamie Roland and Dimon says there's a hurricane offshore and it's coming and it's going to land. And we just don't know whether it's an Andrew or, just a tropical depression. But, and he said, you better plan accordingly, Matt. You better plan accordingly. Anyway.
And I'm going to show a chart here real quick. And obviously that news was a reason to buy today.
Recovering, we're chopping in a range.
We're chopping broccoli. I can't say it any clearer. And literally, this is where you have to be patient. Like, how could you buy that needle this morning? New low, right? We made a new low right off the open, and whoosh, right back up.
And if you caught it,
if you caught it,
this is going to lead into several things here, because we're going to talk on larger time frames. And the thread that I see routinely recently in the shitosphere is that there's no way we can have a pullback like 2008. Like, everybody's got a crystal ball and they can see perfectly clear.
Well, they're talking their book as usual.
There's nothing the same on the ground.
Right.
I say to you, we both of us has been saying we're in a bear market. There's plenty of right sides available. We're going to talk about that also. But why wouldn't you if you just let things evolve? Like, if you were able to grab that double bottom and you stuck with it, even on a short-term basis, we might be finding some weakness right now, but it's the first time. We haven't seen any weakness on a day trading short-term time frame yet.
No. Well, yesterday at least we had a one-way market in the morning, and then we rallied. So I guess today we're going to have a one-way market, and then we're going to sell off
again. I don't see why,
and then come to the middle around, maybe we'll trade back to 630 and on the NASDAQ, and we're at 760 right now, and another 100 points down. That makes sense.
I don't know, Matt. I was just cranking John Hyatt, loving a hurricane. Thank you, Jamie Dimon.
Mm-hmm.
But for sure, you got to let the winds blow, and when they're blowing you in the right direction, when they're blowing you, that was yesterday's show. Anyway, I almost got him to spit. Matt, let me share a few things. Here we go. Let's remember every day. We need to remember this. Every day, breaking news. The elites trust each other more and more. Let's remember this. More and more. But
the news that I thought was interesting, right? We had Trudeau coming out Monday, no more guns in Canada. And then yesterday there was news. 4 of the 5 major Canadian banks said this.
Yes.
To all COVID policy. So
dude,
the money guys are saying double barrels, Justin.
He is in a world of hurt. You don't know it yet.
Like, the money guys just said this to him.
Yes. He's like Delmore Berry in not Braveheart. Come on, Rambo. Delmore Berry died in Vietnam. Didn't even know it. Trudeau is going to die on the COVID hill that he will not get off of. He's going to die. He's already dead, and he doesn't even know it. He's dead. Died in Vietnam. Didn't you know it? Just like Delmore Berry, he's going to die on that COVID hill. Matt, here the elites now in a bit of a conundrum if you're an elite holding a Hampton property because apparently nobody's going on summer vacation.
Right.
And if they are going, they're going to say, listen, you're not bending me over this year. I ran out of my COVID stimulus. I have no PPE left.
Yeah,
and,
right.
And that brings me to this, Matt. We talk right sides all the time. And we just love hearing it. It's like, that can't happen. Let the headlines sink in. The last Howard Johnson's restaurant in America is officially closed. There was more than 1,000 of them. Matt, there was more than 1,000 of them. I know you loved Howard Johnson's.
Love HOJOs.
HOJOs.
Way more than Denny's, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's far superior.
I mean, they nailed it when it came to the hash browns at HOJO's.
My point is, and our point continues to be, how do you can say that can't happen again? We can't have a 2008.
I've heard it, but it's totally the reason why they're sitting so comfortable and their low interest rates, right? Still at 5.5, they're still too low. So you don't think that they're going to go higher? Like you really don't? I do. I think that it's the only way. And so.
My point is, and our point is continually on this show, you know what the left side looks like? Why are people so like, it's like a mental block that right side can't happen?
No, I think they don't know how to manage down markets. And so when that happens, they really don't know what to do and they get paralyzed. So right now they're in the denial stage of grief. And the price will be lower, and then they'll that's what has to happen. Like they won't puke until the market pukes. Like that's just and to your point and my point that we keep saying, we've had no fear. There's been no fear at all. Jamie Dimon saying that there's a hurricane coming doesn't rattle people. Nothing rattles them. I mean, they're, like, I don't know where yet. Didn't you see a headline like this from the New York Post yesterday? And that's real. Like the money is saying, I can't afford this anymore. I'm not getting the bonus. Like this is like that news that you're showing right there. Hampton's landlords are dramatically cutting summer rental prices. That means there's no demand is what that means. That means there's no demand.
Well, there's no demand at that price point for sure.
At that price point, and the people that maybe used to make that money or had the PPP money coming in, like to your point, all this free money that was sloshing around, it's gone. Like it was there for 2 years. And that's what got us to where we are now, right? All this money sloshing around has created this inflation. And it's not demand. It is not a demand created inflation. This is the thing. It's actually, it's a multitude of things. It's supply. And you can't just kickstart the supply, constraints that are back in play. You can't just go, oh yeah, we're just going to turn it back on. It doesn't happen. I mean, look at what happens just in the production of food in this town, in this little town. I went out to eat Tuesday night at a brewery that's owned by a major 3-letter name that we don't like too much anymore.
We got blackballed.
But I like their food. Guess what? They don't have pizza on the menu anymore because there's nobody there to make it anymore all day. They don't have a dough tosser. Like they can't make pizza. They don't have
You tell me you can't find a high school kid.
They didn't have their most popular item, gorgonzola steak nachos, not available. It was on the menu, but were out. They didn't have salmon. We live in the Northwest, for God's sake. Go catch one in the river right down the road. I mean, what's going on?
Man, I could share that with you. I'm going to share it inside the network. On the biggest problem I have with government is in the Pacific Northwest salmon hatchery program is a perfect example. I'll share that in the network. When you read it, you're dumbfounded. You're like, how could they have spent $3 billion and still we got no fish?
Right.
Scam is right, Lee. Scam. Matt, I wanted to talk just a little bit about, we got gyrations going on in the market, right? But we have witnessed recently like all things seem to be tracking together, right?
Yeah,
Because in the sports world, we're sitting at the bar. These guys come in and sit down next to us a couple days ago, and Oregon was playing Arizona. Who were they playing?
UCLA.
Oregon State was playing UCLA in baseball. It was ninth, bottom of the ninth. They're up 9 runs.
Yeah, it was 20. What was it?
21-12.
21-12 when I walked in, when I met you there.
Yes.
I was the cooler for the Beavers.
Unreal.
I cooled
UCLA
that
puts
from-
up 9 in the bottom of the ninth to tie the game, and it goes on to win it in
No.
extra innings.
Yeah, and then they won in the next inning. And Oregon State just kept that poor pitcher in there with the 88,
The kid is
88 ERA. 88 ERA.
he's in counseling right now. But I mean, it seems like in the PGA, the one dude was 10 under, shot 10 over on the back 9 at the PGA. I mean, they talked about the guy that melted down, or maybe it was last week's tournament at the in Fort Worth. But you know, the guy's a pro golfer and he shoots 10 over on the back, like winning the tournament.
Can't happen. Can't happen.
It can't happen. And then these hockey playoffs, the first 2 games, the over just gets shattered in
Right.
goals. Like these guys were,
which you know, as we know, like and you know, Stanley Cup is usually tight. Like
yeah,
goals
there's
are hard
usually
to
a
come.
goalie standing on his head.
Yeah, goal. So you know, the goal. And again, how about the irony of both these teams are loaded with Russians and Eastern Europeans, like probably more than most teams. They're so why are we not?
Why are they able to compete? I mean, they should be sent back to the
Shouldn't they be
front line,
sanctioned? Shouldn't they be sanctioned because that money is definitely going back to Russia? Shouldn't they be sanctioned?
It's
Like
crazy.
both goalies are Russian. There's like 7 or 8 other guys that are Eastern European. Yeah, the 2 best goalies, and they are Russian. Yeah.
Thank you, Lee. Lee is the man with the facts, just the facts. He's like Joe Friday.
Well, and then the Czech that we love so much. You know his name.
The Czech.
Yeah.
I can't remember it. It was Schittle. What is it?
Yeah. Well, we called him Phil Schittle, but it's Hedel. It's Czech.
He never got made fun of. Anyway, my point is like society's reflecting the markets. Like it is completely out of control. The swings are crazy, and don't expect it to be any different.
Right.
Especially because most importantly, policymakers seem to have a complete disconnect. I mean, we talked about it yesterday, how Eurozone inflation has moved to 8.1%, its highest level ever. Meanwhile, the ECB is still holding rates negative. This represents the greatest disconnect between easy monetary policy and unabating rise prices the world has ever seen. It's beyond ridiculous. And yet it still goes on. And
they keep the rates negative because they're fucked. They are fucked.
Matt, let's bring up the dollar. Did we look at it yesterday? I'm sticking to my guns. A 107 this month, dollar. But more importantly, I think the dollar, the euro, like it's up today. It's up almost a percent. This is good news. Rates negative, high inflation. We live in an upside down world that I can't explain. But when reality sets in, it's going to be something to behold.
I mean, if you want to trade the euro, you're trading the NASDAQ, right? Down yesterday, up today. I mean, this is again, all assets are one. How long have we said this to be the case? I mean, this is just the last couple of days, Bob. Whoosh down, whoosh up. Everything's good. You know, apparently that number was bad yesterday for the markets, but now they've forgotten it. And a day later, everything's good. So why, everything's back. Yeah, the euro, again, it's going, I agree with you. It's going to par for sure. It's going to 1, got down to 103, huge rally up in here. And you can see this on the, 610 chart, but you want to buy this? I don't want to buy it. I would love to sell it at 113 again, if it got all the way up there. And that's kind of the way I look at the NASDAQ. Like, great, you want to get the NASDAQ to 14,000 again? I'm not going to be buying it there, but I'll sell it to you there.
And again,
longer time frames, multiple time frames. If you're trading longer time frames, we might be having a little turn here, but I don't think it's going to last too long. Like, for you to be bullish on this chart, Bob, you got to be back above what, 118 or so. I mean, where are we? We're dragging in the gutter.
And fractal out one more time.
I mean, you want to look at the daily chart, it's just, there's nothing pretty about this. You're catching knives if you're buying it, and you're.
I mean, I think that's the longer that we stay building time and volume below the meat of that long-term profile, that is just bearish, bearish, bearish.
Yeah, and again, this is like a multiple year low that we held on again. So they're defending that, right? Whoever they is, again, whatever, it doesn't matter. They're defending that because they know that's the last line in the sand. And when that, 2015, 16 low goes, Europe goes. It's night. Like, it's game over. It is game over. And this is again a 10-year plus chart that you're looking at. This is not a pretty chart. There's nothing pretty about it.
Well, and the other thing too, when you just talk about these, why would you have a negative interest rate bearing vehicle, whatever you want to call it, when you can exchange the money and earn a rate somewhere else in the world?
Right.
I mean, that's the basics of money flows,
Yeah, I mean, five. We haven't looked at the 5-year rates in a while, but they're 2.9. Let's take a look at the 5-year. And these are relatively new, by the way. I don't know if you've seen these, but the 5Y.
So it's just the rate. It's not the coup or the price of it.
Right, but you can trade 10 years, right? You get the
right on. So you're trading the actual interest rate as interest rates.
So 5 and 10 are the same. So why would you own a 10 when you can own a 5, right? So that's happening. And then the 2 years are kind of in the same. Why would you own anything beyond the 2 year right now? Because it's paying you 2.7. Like, why would you carry any more risk for multiple years? I would just be buying. And again, this is interesting. These are all new vehicles too. So, but pick one. The rates are up there. They're not coming back down. I mean, they just did a little bit. The
interesting thing too that I just saw, as I was saying on our way in, right now, D's 22 Eurodollars, 96.79 last. D's 23 Eurodollars, 96.79 and a half. So right now the market does not know what the fuck's going to go on. It really doesn't. And then for you to tell me that there's no way we can have a 2008 type retracement, the market doesn't know. A year out, they have interest rates flat for a year because they have no idea what's coming, what kind of hurricane you're going to be in love with.
It could be the Miami Hurricanes.
It could be the Miami Hurricanes.
They
exactly.
Suck. Yeah.
All right.
Not the Jimmy Johnson.
Everybody waiting on non-farm payrolls, I guess. So maybe a short squeeze. ADP was up 120 something thousand jobs.
Yeah, but don't forget we have Carolina Hurricanes, owned by a fine gentleman from Detroit and the others.
and a University of Michigan grad.
No, he's not.
For sure. Yeah, he got his doctoral degree there. EL doctoral. All right, Matt.
You want to talk uranium again, Lee? I won't.
Show me uranium 1, and that's WON. If you're a Clinton, it's uranium 1. That's how he won. I don't know, Matt. I'm sick of almost every single thing narrative-wise in the news world.
Riddle me this: why aren't, if everything is so great, why aren't airlines screaming to the roof right now in the peak season of travel? Like, why isn't that happening? I
saw a great one too on travel, and I don't know where they were going or why they had to, the plane ticket, but then the rapid test for wherever they were going, they needed a rapid test. The baggage fees. If you're going to travel and you actually want to do anything but lay naked on a beach, you got to bring something. Right. And if you're going to golf or do something, now all of a sudden it's the price, then 125 in baggage fees and 110 in your nasal swab fees.
I'm not paying for that shit.
To and from the airport. I mean, it was going to cost me 400. All of a sudden I'm 1,200 into the trip and I haven't even stepped out the door.
Meanwhile, when Dutch Bros was down to the $20 range, we said buy, and it's doubled. So take some off.
take that sip of Joe.
You just had 100% gain. Like there's a bull market somewhere, and there was one right here in coffee that just doubled for you. We gave this to you what, less
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. You doubled your money. Nice. Next.
Or what do you got today for a doubling? A doubling.
I'm not buying anything today. I don't. If I had it, I'd share it with you. I just don't. I'm sitting on my hands today. Let's talk a little Bitcoin, because that's up today too, because everything moves together, right, Bob?
All assets are one. Again, this monthly,
Look at this. You can this is a daily chart. I want to come in with the long-term picture here, because you got to see it. I mean, nothing's changed. We're dragging along like chum on the bottom.
What's the point of control there? Because, staying friendly, if there's a job
40.
number that's, what is it?
40,000.
40,000. Yeah. What's crazy is it could go there in 2 days.
Yeah, we can go to 52 in 3 days. I'd love to sell it again there. It also could go to 10 in 2 days, and it will.
It will.
So I don't want to hold it. I still don't want to hold it even with your money, but start pulling this back, pull the curtain back a little bit more to the Wizard of Oz, and it's not so pretty. Like, again, make sure you're looking at the full picture. The COVID low was right around 4,000. Why won't we trade there again? We've done it in so many names already. Why wouldn't we go back on the Bitcoin? And why wouldn't we do it on the QQQ? Coming back to our, Benzinga boys. And I do say that loosely, boys. Look at this. This is not you think this is a pretty chart? You want to buy this? You want to buy it, Bob?
No. As a commodity trader to my core, and everything seems to be commoditized now.
Why wouldn't it go back to 180? Why wouldn't
exactly? Why wouldn't it fill out the profile? Of course it can. And again, this isn't 2008. Okay, so there's a whole different set of
and in 2008, it wasn't 2000.
Facts on the ground that will reveal themselves as we move forward. I mean, that's the other way to think about it. Whoa, what happened to me? He gone.
What'd you do?
He gone. Hold on a second. I'll come back. Come back to life. There he is. All right, man, I think that's what we got. I think we got a slow, squeezy grind into non-farm payrolls. If they paint the tape with a good number, maybe this thing continues to a much better place, risk reward wise, to sell. And I'm not opposed to being long on the way up, as long as you're cognizant of the risk and have your stops in place. Trade the market in front of you, Matt. That's all you can do.
Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't we trade to 8,000 on the NASDAQ, which is 180 on the futures? Why wouldn't we trade there? By the way, we have rebalancing. We should talk about that a little bit, because that goes on in the S&P. They'll take out the shitty names, put in the good ones, right? That's happening. The speculation is happening on that right now as we lead into June 30th, when the switch happens, right? So that's something to consider as we, and that is also pushing and pulling this market for the next 28 days.
Right on.
So I think there's a debate to be had around that subject, and those that play those names or trying to assume which names are going to be tossed and which are going to be added. That's happening right now, and they won't talk about it in the press until it's over, until like the 28th and 29th, and you may get a last couple of days. But that's actually maybe a big reason why we're up today. Who knows?
And again, too, I mean, long term, since that happens, of course, the indexes have a up and to the right look to them, because they're always taking out the shitty names and adding the better names.
Correct.
And that's always happening.
You always have an upward bias because of that. Absolutely.
Exactly. Something to keep in mind.
Yeah. And another reason for all the bullish cases to be bullish, right? Another one. I mean, again, you could take this thing all the way back up to 14,000, and I still wouldn't be bearish or bullish. So, and we're at 12.
Listen, Matt, the last time you were bullish was 1972. When was it?
Well, we've kind of been overvalued since then. But.
He was bullish as newspaper.
Listen, we could have massive. This inflation could continue, and we could have a doubling of this. We could go to 32,000 in the Nasdaq. That's not out of the picture, by the way, either.
Right on.
Like I would not.
Let me ask you this though, because I really do think that this is the problem that all these societies have. Europe in particular. Europe's even demographically older than we are. We are not spring chickens demographically in this country.
Right.
And you have a giant part of both populations that are on fixed incomes, either through Social Security here or whatever their social programs are in Europe. And inflation just kills that. It kills that to the point where it's revolution type killing it. Like people are not going to stand for, I mean, you've seen it in Europe, all, austerity. Like if I can't afford to eat, we got problems, man.
Mm-hmm. That's real.
And that is real. And that's why I think there's the huddle at the White House. I mean, you got, I don't know how many boomers are depending on their Social Security check, but it's not a small number of them.
Right. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think the population of those boomers that, actually needs that to eat? Like, do you think it's a significant number?
You're goddamn right. It is a significant number.
Okay.
And I don't have the exact number, but I'm going to work on that for tomorrow's show. Lee, if you could pull that up right now, that'd be, stellar. That'd be worth some shrimp mojo. Rub me with some shrimp mojo. All right, Matt, that's what we got.
I don't know. It looks like we have to test the Sunday high, which was 12,882 in the NASDAQ. We're at 12,808. We're just levitating here. But I'm offering, if you'd like to, if anybody wants to sell it to me, I'd love to sell 12.9 right now. So just let me know. It's another 100 points. Keep bidding it up. I got some offers up there. You'll take them if you can get it up there.
All right, Matt, that was yesterday's show also. But please share, retweet, plagiarize, steal our ideas far and wide. Join us at marketvitals.io for the continuing conversation.
And please sell your Dutch Bros because you've got 100% gain in 2 weeks. 100%.
Take a coffee break and sell your Dutch Bros. Bingo.
Buy yourself.
All right, Matt.
Buy yourself.
Thank you. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Kurt.